Well, hello and welcome. It's Rusty Humphries, and this is the Rusty Humphries Rebellion. Normally, I'd play my cool music, but I can't because I've got Milo on the other line. We're going to talk to him in just a second. Before we do, Milo Yiannopoulos is my special guest. Do me a favor, if you would, please check in. Let us know where you are a deplorable from. We'd love to say your name, get into it. Milo Yiannopoulos will be here. I'm just, and he can't see it, but I've got the book, and I'll get into that in just a second. While I'm waiting for you to get started and for you to check in, for Facebook to catch up, I do want to tell you about one of my great sponsors, thetoymaker.com. What is thetoymaker.com and why should you care about it? Well, that's a fine question, my friend. You should care because you care about your children. You should care because you're looking for something special to do with your kids. Well, guess what? TheToyMaker.com is a wonderful, wonderful website where you can download toys and just download them right to your computer, and then you get the kids together and you can color them and learn about math and all kinds of stuff. They've got this incredible book called The Toy Maker's Mysterious Math Carnival and more. You just download it. It's great. I think you and the kids will love it. Go check it out. And, you know, as Marilyn Scott Waters says, she's the woman behind thetoymaker.com. She says, kids spell love, T-I-M-E, time with you. So if you would please go to thetoymaker.com. All right, let's just get right to the show because I don't have the cool music. My friend Milo Yiannopoulos is here. Milo, how are you, brother?
Hello, my friend. How are you? Thank you so much for having me.
Now,
it's been a very long time. I've missed you.
I've missed you too. I'm just sitting here doing some light reading. I was going to show you. Now, Father, by the way, why aren't you on video? Is it just you're not? Are you having a bad hair day? Or something?
That's exactly what happened. I didn't know you wanted me on Skype, darling. I don't do Skype interviews anymore. And if I had known that, I would have got my hair and makeup impresarios in. No, I'm just rolling out of bed after a very long day editing the next book, which we're not going to talk about yet because I'm not telling anybody what it is yet.
Okay.
But no, I'm in no state to be consumed on camera. But I'm very happy to be talking to you.
Well, I appreciate that. Although when you say that, compared to me, I'm sure it's you look fine. All right, I've got.
No, I'm still a straight 9. Don't get me wrong. But you know.
Wait a second. There's nothing straight about you at all, Milo. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, there we go.
Hey,
I set that one up for you, didn't
thanks
I?
for coming. Two drink minute.
This is the kind of quality bantering that people tune into your show for. I'm very happy.
Yes, exactly. By the way, congratulations. You got married.
I did. A gay marriage, so Jesus is weeping. But I figure if I have to be gay, I may as well live as good a life as I can, right?
Oh man. Okay. All right. Well, by the way, the book I've read it. It's called Dangerous by Milo Yiannopoulos. I've got it right here in my hand. Milo, it's still doing well in the charts, isn't it?
Oh, well, we were 5 weeks New York Times bestseller list. We're cruising towards 200,000 copies sold. I think over the whole lifetime of the book. When all's said and done, it's been out for a while and everybody's picked it up. I think we'll probably do 250,000 copies, when the book is really, has sold everything it's going to sell. That is an absolutely monumental achievement for a book that had no mainstream media interviews, no mainstream media reviews. Nobody would touch it. Nobody would have me on. This is entirely through word of mouth and my own, genius at marketing, and of course because the book is so good.
Yeah.
Five. Is it 4.9 or 5 stars on Amazon? I forget. It goes up, it goes down, but never below 4.9. People really, really love it. And they've been telling each other to buy it. They've been buying multiple copies. 250,000 copies of a book that nobody in the mainstream media dared to or wanted to promote is just staggering. It is a literary success story, the likes of which, publishing industry hasn't seen in decades.
Well, and then when you did get a chance with a mainstream outlet, NPR, they wouldn't play it.
Of course. No, I did an interview with NPR, and I think, because they want any Trump supporter to be a redneck, a racist, or an idiot, and not being any of those things, and in fact being charming and likable and articulate.
Humble, yes.
And of course, modest and humble. Yeah.
Yes.
I wasn't what they were hoping for. They thought they were going to get Richard Spencer, some virulent racist, or they thought they were going to get just some attention-seeking idiot. Actually, I was charming and all the other things I just said, with the result that NPR shelved the interview. They wouldn't run it. And we badgered them for weeks. And they were like, oh, yeah, it's coming out on Thursday. Oh, yeah, it's coming out next week. Oh, we're not going to use all of it, by the way. It's just going to be like a 5-minute segment. And it got the time scale got longer and longer, and the segment got shorter and shorter. So in the end, I said, you know what, screw you guys. And I dumped the whole interview on YouTube myself. And everybody could see why NPR didn't want to run it. And they do this to conservatives all the time.
Now, people say that, the people will come out and they'll go, oh, come on, Milo, you're just making that up. Or conservatives, whenever they say anything like that, oh, you guys are just making it up. And it's shocking how it really is true, isn't it?
Well, I think it would have been ridiculous for any conservative, any Republican to claim to be the victim of, well, just about anything 20 years ago. But things have changed very, very dramatically in a very short space of time. And remember, I don't have a dog in the fight. Like I said, I have no skin in this game. I'm not American. I'm not a citizen. I'm not a Republican. I can't vote here. I'm just saying it like I see it. I've come over here from Britain. I'm looking at the landscape. I'm looking at who the bad guys are. I'm assessing for myself. If you're a conservative in England and you vote for the Conservative Party in England, you're probably more like a Democrat in America. And there's things that I don't like about both parties. But I can tell you, as an outsider looking in, as somebody who has been in this country and loves this country, I've never seen anything like it. Supposedly, the home of the First Amendment, this place where you can be, do, and say anything. But if you have the wrong political opinions, you are ostracized, you're marginalized from public life, you're bullied and ridiculed constantly. And if you're both conservative and successful, or both conservative and effective, both conservative and popular, like people like me and Ann Coulter are, they'll blacklist you. They won't talk about you. They won't even mention you because they don't want to help your book sales until something goes wrong or they can manufacture a controversy of some kind, So it's very remarkable. I don't think I would have had very much patience for those arguments 20 years ago, but I sure as goodness do now.
Okay, what happened in Berkeley? That we had talked before you did it, and I was trying to get you to have me come out there, and you got busy, and you invited a bunch of other people. That's okay, but
you're like a jilted ex-girlfriend. You're never going to let me forget it. Well, I'm going to make an effort to come and see you in person next time I'm in your neck of the woods.
But you're going to be in my neck of the woods this week or next week, and I'm going to be out of the country.
You're going somewhere with vampires. You're going to Transylvania.
I actually am. I'm going to Romania. I'll be near Transylvania for.
Did you lose a bet? Did you lose a bet? And if you lose the coin toss, you have to go to Romania.
No, now you're European. I've been there one time.
Adopting a child. Are you picking up a Romanian baby?
No, I'm there working a movie stuff.
Oh, really? Because they have a very active and enthusiastic adoption industry in Romania. Because they have too many children, they don't want them. So lots of rich Brits and rich Americans end up with Romanian babies. So it's really apart from Vlad the Impaler, that's the only thing I know about Romania.
Well, that and Ceausescu's pad, but no, they do a lot of movies there, and I'm going out there to actually do some media training with a rich businessman. So I'm going out there to help some people out. But you're actually coming to the Phoenix area for a thing called Unite Arizona Summit, and of course you're the main speaker. Do you know much about this event? What you're doing there?
No, I just show up and I'm pointed at an audience and I hope for the best. No, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a big crowd, a fun, big rally. I think I'm doing two things actually in the area. I think there's a dinner of some kind, and there's also a big rally event, which is going to be lovely. So the Saturday on October 28th is Free Speech Arizona. That's a big keynote speech that I'm going to do. So you can get tickets and VIP whatever at trollacademy.org, which is my tour website. Mm-hmm. And then there's another thing in Scottsdale, which is not too far from you either, which is October 27th. That's some kind of charity dinner or something. So you can get tickets for that on my site too.
And I'm sorry because I would have loved to have hung out with you because I'm leaving the 27th in the morning. So next time.
Sorry. I feel like you've become a kind of avuncular figure in my life. You're so sweet to me. You text me lovely things, and we're always in touch. And I'm very sorry I'm not going to get to meet you, but you can rest assured that I will be back to your state. I
would like that. So let's get back to the thing, and by the way, if you want to go and check out this symposium, which you should go to if you're anywhere near Arizona, you've got a little time to get tickets. UniteAZ.info. UniteAZ.info, and a lot of cool people are going to be there. And if Milo's going to be the keynote speaker, it's going to be great. There was a thing, you were doing this big thing in Berkeley, and the first time you went there, it was riots, and then the second time, I don't know what happened. It just kind of it disappeared or something. What happened?
Well, one of the main problems, and there were all sorts of problems, the students were very intimidated by the university's kind of dirty tactics. One of the main problems was we paid UC Berkeley $65,000 in security fees, and they refused to release the venues to us. They would not give us halls to have our speakers in, with the inevitable result that some of our headline speakers started to drop out. You can't expect Ann Coulter and Steve Bannon to speak out on Sproul Plaza on the steps where they could get shot by Antifa. So, of course, they said to us, well, if you don't have venues, which is perfectly reasonable of them, of course. And Berkeley held on to $65,000 of my money for weeks. Without paying it back. They threw endless administrative hurdles, last-minute deadlines, last-minute crazy demands. They made it that they threw everything they had in terms of administrative hurdles and burdens and whatnot at these students to the point where they effectively made the event impossible. We are not going to be beaten by them, however. We're going to go back. I'm currently planning a return to Berkeley myself in April, and I'm also going to try and get speaking slots for Anne and for Steve as well. So we're not giving up. We are going to make sure that these talks are successfully executed on the Berkeley campus. They cannot scare us away, whether it's with, big security fees or ludicrous administrative hurdles. We are going to beat them. But, sometimes these things take time. Berkeley, after all, is the belly of the beast. It is the apex of campus craziness, which is why it's so important for their students to be exposed to conservative points of view.
Yeah, Milo Yiannopoulos is here. The book is Dangerous by Milo. It's still in bookstores. He's got more going on. And again, if you're near Arizona on the October 28th, big event, it's from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. at Rawhide Wild Horse. It's a big casino outdoor event. It's a very cool place, Milo, if you haven't been there yet. But go to uniteaz.info.
No, I'm excited about it.
I've been hearing that you're having trouble getting venues across the country, that they're really doing everything they can, not just in Berkeley, to silence you. Is that true?
Well, the left does have a habit of continually proving my point for me. And every time we book a private venue or a college venue, they start sending threats, very specific threats to the venues. They say they're going to hurt the people who work there. They're going to commit violence. And unfortunately, as things currently stand, the left has the upper hand in this stuff. If they start to threaten violence and they do so in large numbers, not very much bad happens to the people doing the threatening, and bad stuff does happen to conservatives who just want to show up and talk. It's worth bearing in mind that, there are people who I wouldn't choose to be associated with, people on the far right, disreputable characters who show up and are unable to muster more than a few hundred supporters wherever they go. I'm not in that category. I'm a mainstream conservative, media personality. I'm filling out auditoriums in Australia for my Australian tour. I've never even, spoken about Australia, but yet they love me so much. We've sold 1,400 tickets, in 3 days for Sydney dates. These venues are going to make money with me. We're a serious touring operation and a serious business, but they're bowing to leftist pressure anyway because they're scared. And what it demonstrates, I think, is that even people who, sign contracts with us and want to go into business with us are terrified by the rabidness and by the sheer, fearsome, gratuitous, horrendous viciousness of the progressive left's violent factions who just want to close down free speech, shut down anyone they don't agree with. I mean, I'm like the most harmless person imaginable. I'm like, I just come, I'll crack a few jokes, I'll talk about a few things, I throw a few slides up, I have a laugh and a joke with the audience, I go home. I'm not any of the things that they call me, and I'm a really popular media personality that fans want to come and see in their thousands. But the left is preventing that from happening. The left is to hear me in public, and they're doing it all over the shop.
I'm listening to what you're saying, and I have seen you speak, and you do a great job. It is,
Thank you.
It's shocking that it's okay to just shut you down. It's acceptable. It's of course you'd shut that guy down, and I don't understand why.
But this is the result of 30 years of conservatives failing to show up to the fight. This is the result of 30 years of conservatives bending over backwards to please leftists, agreeing to their speech codes. There's a whole chapter in my book about this, about why establishment Republicans hate me. And it's because I'm doing the job they should have for the last 30 years. I'm actually showing up to campuses. I'm holding a mirror up to the progressive left and showing these people, for what they are. I'm showing them themselves. I'm the only person who will actually has the stamina and willing, apparently, and the balls, apparently, to show up and have this fight and do this. And it's very sad to me that American conservatives consider writing essays about something the same as doing it. It's all very well whining in Commentary Magazine or National Review about how awful the situation is on college campuses, but not a single one of those conservative Republican journalists or activists has done anything in 30 years. And I'm trying, I'm doing my best. And so the left is focused on me as a real point of danger. They recognize that I am an existential threat to their utter control of of all these different institutions in civil society. And they're right about that. I am dangerous to them because I do persuade people by the hundreds of thousands that these guys are wrong. And I understand why they hate me so much, but it is very dispiriting and disappointing to have to fight so hard just to put on a show.
Yeah.
We're very confident, by the way, that we're going to be fine. We're very confident that we're going to find venues that are not going to bow to this kind of stuff, and that we're going to see the fans that want to see me, and that we're going to continue to do all this stuff. We can't lose because we have such a huge fan base. You really can't be beaten. But it is enormously hard work for me and my team. It can be very demoralizing for fans too. But ultimately, this is why Trump is in the White House. This is why people love me so much. This is the left proving my point for me over and over and over again. And every time they do this, my fan base grows larger and gets angrier and wants to buy more of my books and come to more of my shows. So it's always my preference to do the show. Yeah. I always want to perform. But on those occasions when things do go wrong, it's not the end of the world for me, only because they really are proving my point.
Right. Milo Yiannopoulos is here. Do me a favor, would you please give us some thumbs up, some hearts? Share this video out. Let people know. I mean, this is a man that deserves to be heard, and people love to hear him. So please share this on your Facebook page. Do that right now. Again, the book is Dangerous by Milo Yiannopoulos. Milo, they accuse you of being alt-right and this, all these things, white supremacist, all these things. I never heard of people talk about the Klan hardly during Obama. And white supremacy, yeah, they throw it out every once in a while. But all of a sudden, everybody is turned into Nazis and Klan members and stuff with the white president. I don't get this, and I don't get why people buy this garbage. I've never met a Klan member. I don't know white supremacists. I don't know what they're talking about. Do you?
I don't think that there's a huge resurgence of ugly white racism or anti-Semitism in this country. I do think there's enormous frustration at the way that the progressive left has been allowed to talk about certain groups. I mean, the straight white male of social justice folklore has been repeatedly abused by the media, by popular culture, and it's not surprising that they are expressing frustration. But I don't see some sort of virulent outburst of racism. I think this is it's a sort of moral panic along the lines of the satanic ritual abuse, child abuse scandal, acid rain, climate change. It's one of those things the media just becomes obsessed with. One of those things that the media just loses its mind over for a couple of years and then evaporates. This specter, this imaginary, illusory ghost of white supremacy haunting these terrified, BuzzFeed bloggers. Yeah. It just doesn't exist. And you've got to ask yourself, why is it that it's so difficult for me to speak in any venue, public or private, university campus or private venue? But Richard Spencer, who is an actual white supremacist, has cameras and microphones shoved in his face anywhere he goes and is successfully executing talks at the University of Florida, all these other places where he is perfectly able to speak. Why? Because they want him to. The media wants him there. They want to suggest that there is this outburst of white supremacy. They want to suggest that Richard Spencer is the new face of the Republican Party. Of course he isn't. We all hate him.
Yes.
And the majority of people in his audiences are journalists, by the way.
Right. Because I've never heard of this guy. He just kind of popped up onto the scene, and all of a sudden...
The reason he popped up on the scene, the reason he popped up is they made him.
Yeah.
You had these lavish, glowing, long-form profiles of the guy in every major media outlet, including the Washington Post and the New York Times. They all fawned over him. They said how well-dressed he was, how well-spoken and articulate he was, how he didn't look like your typical skinhead. They don't do that to me. Why? because Richard Spencer is a sideshow, and he's a useful idiot for them to suggest to people that white supremacy is on the rise, whereas I am genuinely dangerous to their agenda because I am a walking refutation of both identity politics and political correctness, which is why they try to ignore that I exist unless they can score a point, and they lavish attention and praise on him because they want people to believe that Richard Spencer is the face of the Republican Party and the face of white people and the face of conservatives in America. It isn't true. Yeah. Everyone knows it isn't true. Nobody is fooled by that, but they will not stop. And they're tripling down on this strategy. And the guy gets a bigger platform than me, and he has 400 followers in the country.
If that. Yeah,
I have 2.2 million people just on Facebook. 2.3 million people just on Facebook. My book sells hundreds of thousands of copies. Richard Spencer has a fan base probably like 0.176% of mine. But who gets the attention from the press? Ask yourself why.
And by the way, how many followers do you have on Twitter right now?
I'm not answering that mean-spirited question.
No, the point is...
embarrass me.
No, it's the exact opposite. They silenced you.
Kidding.
Yeah, they silenced you. Just another place that's you silenced.
Have they silenced Richard Spencer? No. In fact, what I believe they did to Richard Spencer was verify his account.
I can't get mine verified. A couple people want to ask you a couple quick questions.
Maybe you're as dangerous as Milo Yiannopoulos. You should take it as a compliment. If they won't verify your Twitter account, perhaps it's because they're scared of you.
That's probably what it is. I'm dangerous. My whole body's a weapon, Milo.
You just hurl it at people.
That's right.
I'm sure that's the case.
Jerry wants to know, Milo, he says, Milo, glad to see you. The younger generation is taking the reins, so to speak. What is your take on the youngest head of state of Austria, Sebastian Kurz?
Oh, I don't know too much about European politics. I will tell you that the nationalist movements in Europe can occasionally be slightly more racially tinged than I'm comfortable with. People say nice things about AfD in Germany, which on the whole seems okay. The Front National in France seems to me to be has some slightly unsavory elements in its past. I don't look too closely into this stuff. Mm-hmm. What I do like, I will tell you in broad terms. UKIP in the UK, by the way, is fantastic. They're part of the Trump, nationalist, populist, independent kind of like nation state uprising among grassroots conservatives, and they're a good thing. But I will tell you one thing, which is in broad terms, without endorsing anybody specifically or talking about anybody in particular, because I don't follow European politics closely enough to be an expert. I'll be honest with you. You should go to somewhere like Breitbart London for that, because they're pretty good on this subject, and they cover this stuff pretty authoritatively and thoroughly. Without following it too closely, I will just say that the rise of this populist, nationalist, anti-feminist, anti-political correctness kind of grassroots conservative right, this new right, which hates the establishment right as much as, if not more, than it hates the left, is a thoroughly good thing. It is an entirely positive development for Western civilization, because these are the only people who are going to save us from enemies within and without.
So, and I know you're friends with Steve Bannon, as am I. You're probably closer friends. He's talking about going
Uncle
after
Steve. I call him Uncle Steve.
Uncle Steve. He's talking about going after establishment GOP. Is that the right thing to do? Newt thinks it's a bad idea.
Of course, it's the right thing to do, because they need to burn. They are the Republican Party is unfit for purpose. The Republican Party has betrayed its own voters for decades, if not generations. It is so far removed from the concerns and priorities of ordinary voters. It deserves to go down in flames. If the Trump presidency succeeds in splitting the If the Trump presidency, I don't know what's wrong with me, maybe I'm tired. The Trump presidency succeeds in splitting the Republican Party in two, it will have all been worth it. All of the those of us who like Trump and have had to defend him or grimace or wince or cringe through his latest tweet storm or whatever, will consider it all worth it if the Republican Party falls.
Okay. Milo Yiannopoulos is here. I know you got to get going real quickly. Let's give some more comments here. Jody says, hello, Milo. Just love you. You go, girl.
George, well, that's something we have in common. Thanks, Angel.
George says, I dumped NPR years ago. Carrie says, we love you, Milo. George says, media is the lead bully. Kelly checking in from Liberty Lake, Washington. Anne Marie says, Milo, heart, thumbs up. Never back down, Milo. Derek says, stop telling lies, Milo. You liar, you big old fibber, Milo. I don't know.
What did I lie about? What does he say?
I don't know.
What? No, ask him what he thinks I lied about. Get him on air. Let's talk to
Derek, him. What is Milo said that's been a lie? I would like to know. I would.
I want to know. See, you were doing so well. Your listeners were I thought the praise would never end, which is why I wasn't interrupting you.
The praise. I'll keep
This idiot needs to justify that statement. Get him on air.
I'm with you. Let's see here. Gay says, just joined in from Britain. Sorry. Hey, I love it. It's Milo Yiannopoulos. Thank you, Milo. Come to Canada this summer. You are alt-right. Is it, do people never listen? Do people just not pay attention?
You know what's funny? It's like I've given up expecting people to get this right. I mean, my publicist gets a lot of mileage out of trying to get corrections from people. But just to give you an example of how futile this exercise is, Chapter 2 of my book, my New York Times best-selling book, is called "Why the Alt-Right Hates Me." But in the New York Times bestseller list itself, under the title of my book, it says the alt-right provocateur, talks about political correctness or whatever. And I'm like, okay. This is a New York Times best-selling book. It has been on your list for 5 weeks, but nobody in the building opened it, clearly.
Right.
Not even opened it. It's weird. Like, there aren't that many books that make the nonfiction bestseller list for that long in the New York Times that the New York Times doesn't review. But I'll let that go. They're obviously never going to say anything good or bad about my book. But you could at least have looked at the chapter titles in, your quest to summarize the book in one line for your own chart, for your own table of bestsellers. I mean, come on. And when I saw that, I was just, what, this is a lost battle. Every time somebody says this, I'm just like, okay, define alt-right, because if you mean neo-Nazi, go F you, whatever yourself. And if you mean something else, yawn. Just tell me what argument you disagree with. Rather than labeling and name-calling, why don't you tell me what you think I believe that is unpleasant to you or that you find distasteful? And they tend to hang up or disappear.
Right. That was one of those ones that, I never heard the term alt-right until the Hillary Clinton election, the election with Donald Trump. All of a sudden, alt-right popped up. I never even heard of it before.
Oh, well, she read out my headlines in a speech. One of my more satirical-ish headlines. Birth control makes women unattractive and crazy.
Now, why would you say something like that?
Because it's true. And the other one was, what was the other one? Would you rather your child had... I'm sorry, it is. I mean, I make no apologies to listeners, male or female. Read the studies for yourself. Cottage cheese thighs, mood swings, less attracted to the opposite sex. Like, honestly, it's a disaster. I'm Catholic, and I think the Catholic Church is right about everything, including this. If you don't like it, I'm sorry. Well, actually, I'm not sorry. If you don't like it, go listen to somebody else.
Although they don't support gay marriage.
No, they don't. But I'm capable of acknowledging that I'm doing something that I shouldn't, whilst not being so egotistical and narcissistic that I believe that the church should change her teachings to match my whatever. I'm capable of saying I'm probably not doing the right thing by the church, and also that the church has it right. I think we're all complicated people, and you remember also, people are Anglicans, people are Protestants because they think they're good people, but the Catholic Church is a church for sinners. We're Catholics because we know we're not. And this is it's a continual path of self-improvement and reflection. And very few Catholics will tell you that they are without sin, that they are lily white. Plenty of evangelicals think they are.
You're right about that one. I mean,
the Catholic way is at least a little more honest.
Yeah. By the way, how is married life? Are you doing? It's only been a week or two.
Oh, it's so boring. I'm so in love. It's sickening. It must be so awful to see us in restaurants. It's why we don't go out to eat anymore, because people just vomit around us. There's just spontaneous exorcists, like spiral-headed vomit scenes. Yeah. Because we're so blissfully and sickeningly in love. I don't even want to bore you with it, but it's wonderful. I think that the reason my opinion changed on gay marriage, which it did, was that I didn't really think two dudes could love each other in the way that a man and a woman do. Mm-hmm. And my opinion has been changed through experience. And now, honestly, I don't know what I think. I just don't. And I'm sure that there are people who get very upset and very angry, particularly Catholics, about it. But,
I did notice that in the wedding photos that you did not show his face. Was that on purpose?
Are you crazy? I don't want him to die. I just married the guy.
Yeah, okay.
I don't want him to get killed.
Were you seriously concerned about his safety?
Of course I am. I mean, can you imagine being married to me, especially as a black guy? It's just people coming up to you in the street and calling you an Uncle Tom or God knows what else. I wouldn't wish that on anyone. And I genuinely love the guy, and I intend to keep his identity private and secret for as long as is humanly possible. Okay. Because visiting on anyone, the public crime of being my spouse is not something you do to someone you love.
Okay. Did he take your last name? How does that work? Is that a stupid question? I don't know.
No, it's not a stupid question. It's complicated. I mean, I don't want to get into details because this is a family show, but there are respects in which I'm the husband and respects in which he's the husband, and we tend to keep that kind of stuff to ourselves.
Okay, that's fair. I don't know.
I mean, I can get much more graphic, but maybe off air.
Yeah, we don't need to do that. Okay, let's see here. Milo, come to Toronto, Canada. Trudeau would love you.
Don't be ridiculous. I'm illegal in Canada. I've never applied for a Canadian visa or tried to get into Canada. Mostly because I know that I'm probably going to be deported, and it would just be embarrassing. So
why? Because they'd consider it hate speech?
Oh, everything that comes out of my mouth is probably illegal in Canada. I mean, I haven't checked, but I'm pretty sure.
They got good maple syrup there.
Yeah, but you can get that. You can get that in the. You can get that in Walgreens, not Walgreens. You can get what's your supermarket called?
We have Fried, Albertsons, Safeway,
Walmart. That's the one I mean. Walmart. You can get their maple syrup in Walmart. You don't need to go up there with all those terminally boring people and dreadful weather. And Frenchmen. The worst thing about Canada isn't the politics or how boring it is or the total lack of anything resembling culture. Yeah. The terrible weather, the bland architecture, the miserable, pointless, glum, grim social justice atmosphere hanging like thick mist over every town. The worst thing about Canada is it's full of the French.
His name's Milo Yiannopoulos. Okay, here's something you probably haven't heard of. I've never heard this comment. You ready? Beth said, this is the first time I've ever heard of Milo. I
haven't heard that for a while, but it's always good to know that my fan base has the potential to grow even further.
That's absolutely. Let's see here. God bless America.
Gracious answer, isn't it? That's what you're supposed to say. I have no idea what you're supposed to say.
No, you know what? It's good. Your fan base is growing. Lyndon says, Beth, he's a really smart guy and tons of fun.
No, I am. Yeah. I'm a hoot and a half.
You're a hoot and a half. And then she says, well, he has a cute pic. And then Yvonne says he's very.
Which picture did you put up? I was trying to look for it on Facebook while we were talking.
I just have a picture of the book cover because I'm trying to help you sell books.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. And by the way, if you're listening to this, this is the first, maybe the first book in history that you can judge by the cover. It's absolutely delightful.
Let's see. Milo is very smart, intelligent, brilliant, and a beautiful man. Thank you, Yvonne.
Well, thank you. I agree.
Robin says, I don't agree with everything you say, Milo, but you go.
You know, people say this, and I'm not sure I ever believe them. One of the most common thing that is ever said about me is, I don't agree with everything he says, but. And I think everything before but is always a lie. It's like, I believe in free speech, but. I'm not a sexist, but. I'm not a racist, but. Everything before the but is a lie. So, this I don't agree with everything he says. I think it's a sort of hedge to get people out of having to admit in public that they're fans. That's fine. I don't mind. Just, I did, by the way, on purpose with this book, make a very beautiful physical cover to it. Underneath the dust jacket, which has, of course, a picture of my beautiful face and Milo and Dangerous in red. If you take the cover off it, it has this lovely black and gold cover.
I'm doing it right now.
On the actual book. Yes. And it's much more subtle. It's much more difficult for people on the subway to know what you're reading. So I did that as a gift to fans who don't want to be outed in public, who want to be reading the book and still want it to look nice, but don't want to be fingered on the subway, as it were.
Lisa wants to know, Milo, what do you think of the upcoming November 4th planned Antifa uprising? Have you been following that?
Good luck to them. I think that they are very quickly going to find. You did see the FBI, by the way, it's just classified Black Lives Matter as a domestic terrorist group.
No.
Hooray! At last. Oh no, it was buried. Nobody covered it because, of course, they didn't.
Right.
We covered that. I think on this little blog thing I have that connects to my Facebook page. So it's good actually. If you are not completely and totally sick of me yet and you're listening to this, then have a little check out of me on Facebook.
Where do we find? Just Milo Yiannopoulos?
Just put Milo in. You'll see it. It's got a blue tick next to it.
Okay.
And we do cover interesting stories like this from time to time. And this was one of them. It wasn't covered very widely, but this FBI report said basically it was sort of black supremacist, black identitarian agitators were dangerous domestic terrorists. Antifa is going to get themselves into trouble because something almost unprecedented happened this year, which was the left denounced one of their own. And you saw Democrat politicians saying that political violence was bad, which I've never heard of in my life. The left actually denouncing political violence,
right.
Like blow me down with a feather. Honestly, I passed out on the spot. That to me signals that the movement's days are numbered.
I hope you're right. I do. And I hope people buy your book. I've read it. It's great. I have an autographed copy because you forgot to send it to me, but it's autographed. I'm very, very proud of that. It's very nice. I have it right here.
You have been roasting me in this call. I'm gonna send you some used underwear, and then you'll really be with my.
Yeah, no.
I'll work out whatever it is we sell in the store that's for like the mega fans. Some kind of like 20-foot by 10-foot autographed in my own blood poster or something. I'll find it. I will get you it. I promise.
That would be fun. Okay. I also want to remind everybody that you are going to be speaking in Arizona, in the Phoenix area, at a thing called the Free Speech AZ Symposium. You can find out more information at unitedaz.info. And you are the keynote speaker. Again, it's Milo Yiannopoulos. And there is a VIP charity dinner, too, where there is a meet and greet with Milo and more. You get an autographed copy of the book, a dinner to Saturday's event, and it should be a lot of fun. You got a big show going on there.
Well, thank you. I think a lot of people are coming down. It's going to be really good fun. So I'm excited to come visit. I don't know. Have I been to Arizona before? I don't think it was on the last tour. Maybe I'm wrong. Sorry if anyone's offended. Well, I'm not sorry if anyone's offended. I'm just sorry if I'm wrong.
Because it happens so infrequently, right?
That would be pretty off-brand, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Milo apologizes for causing offense. My career would be over. I don't know if I've been to Arizona before. I'm sorry for your awful senator who seems to be suffering from...
No. I'm sorry for our awful senator. It's our fault. I worked against him.
You should be.
I tried.
The guy with brain feminism.
Yeah.
My goodness. Well, at least I know what I'll talk about. My speeches.
Yeah, he's not a big he's not loved here, and I apologize. I won't be there. I'm going to be out of the country, and I would have loved to have hung out with you and seen your speech. So I apologize for that.
Love that, but just as long as you promise to let me take you for dinner next time I'm in town.
Sometime that would be great. Again, unitedaz.info. That's where you can find out more about the Free Speech Arizona show that he's going to be a part of, and a lot of great speakers there, Milo. And again, how do we find you online, and how can we follow you more and be part of Milo's Army?
Well, the best thing is Facebook, and you can just look for my name for Milo on Facebook. And then you can see me pop up on YouTube and Instagram and all the rest of it. And then, of course, we've got the tour coming. You can find that at trollacademy.org, and we're fixing all of that. We're going to do a new tour in the new year with new names and whatnot. Dangerous.com is going to be shortly our new portal for everything. So keep that in the back of your mind. And eventually all of our stuff will be at dangerous.com.
What is it, Troll Academy? Are you teaching people how to be trolls?
Well, I figured that I had sort of introduced America to the aspirational lifestyle brand we call Milo in 2016. And this year is the year that I teach other people how to be just as much of a pain in the neck as I am.
Okay, I'll sign up for that class. I'll be there for that. All right. Milo, it's always a pleasure.
Front row.
Thank you, my friend. It's always good to hear from you, and I'm glad you're doing well, and I'm looking forward to your publishing house. I know you're getting ready to have that take off too, right?
Oh, I should tell you. We're publishing Pamela Geller's new book on November the 1st. You should pre-order it right now. It's $20 on Amazon. It's nothing, but it is an amazing book. It's called Fatwa, Hunted in America by Pamela Geller. She's a hero of mine. She's an icon of the conservative movement, very, very much loved by conservatives in America everywhere. And her new book is by far her best book, I think, and it is about how she became who she is.
No.
Her Damascene conversion on 9/11 to the woman that we now know and love. So it's really fantastic.
So Fatwa, is it a diet book?
No, it's a flippant question, but I'm going to answer you seriously anyway because I want people to know about it. It's the story of how Pamela, as a sort of New York socialite, without too much deep or particularly specialized knowledge of Islam or whatever, saw 9/11 happen in her own town. Mm-hmm. Wondered how this could possibly have happened in what was supposedly the freest, safest country in the world. Wondered who in heaven had done this stuff. And educated herself over the next, 10, 15 years into one of the most erudite and accomplished people in public life when it comes to Islam. And, of course, it covers the Garland, Texas Draw Muhammad competition, which is which was actually an art show.
Right, for folks who don't know, they came down to try to kill her. And, by the way, that mosque is 10 miles from my house, right down the street.
Right.
I've been in there, yeah.
It's terrifying because the FBI knew it was happening and did nothing. And if she had not had her own private security, she and all the guests would probably be dead now. So it's a very, very terrifying story. It's really, really scary. We're also, I'm happy to say, the first and only publisher in America to reproduce the winning cartoon from that art show. So that's in the book because we will not be cowed by political correctness, whether it comes from feminists or from Islamists. So we're reproducing the cartoon in the book. It's out 1st of November. It's available for pre-order now. So I hope you enjoy it. It is, and I don't say this lightly, as good as mine.
Wow, that is saying something. Pamela Geller is awesome. And one quick
That's the highest praise I can give anything.
Yeah.
It's as good as mine.
Before you go, Michael has a fair question. I mean, you'd assume that everybody knows this, but they don't. Michael wants to know, Fatwa, what is that?
Oh, well, a fatwa, Pamela Geller, a fatwa was issued, which basically is a sort of, it's a command from the Ayatollah, which says that believers are, I think, obligated if they see Pamela to kill her, and they're guaranteed a place in heaven if they do so. It's a sort of prize or ransom on someone's head for blaspheming the prophet or for doing something else that offends Muslims or Islam. Yeah. And so the Ayatollah can pronounce it. It's the same thing Salman Rushdie had. You know, I think his Norwegian publisher got killed after the Satanic Verses came out. And a great moment, by the way, in British history, which was, I mean, Salman Rushdie is a lefty, probably hated all the conservatives in power. But Margaret Thatcher, who was the prime minister at the time, brought him in and said, "We will protect you because we're not going to bow to these lunatics who want you dead." Great sort of noble bipartisan moment in history. Nice. So the thing that happened to Salman Rushdie, which most people know, happened to Pamela Geller too.
And you know, it happened to me. I had to move. I put out a CD, a song called "Thank Allah, I'm a Jihad Boy," and I put out a CD, and I had to move. I was living in I don't even want to say where I was living, and the FBI came to my house and said,
"Are you serious?
Yeah, you need to move. You need to get out. Come on, you're making this up."
Oh my! So that means they found someone with your address who was planning to get you.
Yeah, this was a while ago, but yeah.
That's the scariest thing. Oh my goodness! Well, I'm so glad you told me that. Now I've published Muhammad cartoons. Good grief! I'm gonna disavow all knowledge of dangerous books. That's not mine. No.
I don't know.
You must have somebody else.
All right, go get the book. It is Dangerous by Milo Yiannopoulos. This is what the back cover looks like. This is this your dog?
That actually is the Breitbart editor-in-chief Alex Marlowe's hound.
Okay.
She's called Daphne.
All right.
She's lovely, and she's now much bigger. Do buy mine if you feel like treating yourself, because it is a great gift to yourself. Hop onto Amazon and look for Pamela Geller's book Fatwa, and of course get Dangerous if you haven't read it already because you've been, I don't know, in Romania or something. Actually, I don't think you'll probably get it in Romania. Anyway, thank you so much for having me. It's been wonderful.
Milo, it's always a pleasure, brother. We'll stay in touch.
Thank you for the considerate and constant plugs of everything. You're very, very professional and helpful and wonderful. Thank you so much. And I'll talk to you soon.
Take care, Milo. Bye-bye. That's Milo Yiannopoulos. And you know what? A good guy. A really good guy. And you know, the first time I had him on the show over a year ago, I didn't know if I was going to like him or anything, and we've become friends. You know, we don't have to agree with everything with anybody, but you know what? He has strong beliefs. He speaks the truth as he sees it, and I have a lot of respect for him. And so I wish him nothing but the best. So I want to thank Milo for being here on the show. I also want to thank our sponsors, DerMend, moisturizing anti-itch lotion, great product. I don't know if you're a seasoned citizen, you want to have this product. It helps. Specially formulated for itchy, mature skin with moisturizer, skin conditioning agents, and Promoxine HCI. Relieves itch and irritation. Visit DerMend.com for more information or go to your local Walmart, Walgreens, or CVS. Also, sponsored tonight by the Zona Plus. Zona Plus will help you lower your blood pressure. You know, 70 million Americans have high blood pressure, and it's the silent killer. And if you have high blood pressure, I know your doctor probably has you on some medicine, but I'll tell you what, medicine is good. Don't stop taking it. But, and I don't want to fall over there, but this smart device, which was created when they found out that fighter pilots holding the joystick lowered their blood pressure. And so they created this smart device so that you could lower your blood pressure doing just a hand exercise 12 minutes a day, 5 days a week. All the research and the information is at zonaplus.com, zonaplus.com. And use my name, Rusty, at checkout, R-U-S-T-Y, and you will get $50 off, okay? Let me do some check-ins really quick. Let me say hi. What is the name of that book again, Kim? It's called Fatwa. Fatwa by Pamela Geller. And Milo's book is called Dangerous by Milo Yiannopoulos. So if you do that, I want to thank a lot of people for watching tonight. Let me do your quick check-in. By the way, I'm shocked. Do me a favor. Will you please share this video? Not enough shares tonight. Normally we get a lot more shares, a lot more likes, a lot more stuff. And I don't know if it's something going on out there or if we're being squeezed by the algorithms or whatever. But tonight's show was good. Milo Yiannopoulos rocks, and he needs to be heard. And so if you would please do me a favor and go and, oh, George, you don't like the price? So saving your life is too expensive for you? Well, then don't buy it. By the way, it does, the Zona Plus does have a 90-day money-back guarantee, and if you don't like it, you can get a full refund. You know, I think that's cheap to save your life, but that's me. That's me. So do me a favor right now. Would you please share the video? Share the video. People need to hear what Milo has to say because he deserves to be heard. And let's do some quick check-ins. Where are you from? Quickly, I want to do some check-ins. Who are you? Where are you deplorable from? And then we're going to say goodbye, but I want to know who you are. I want to say your name. I want to see who you are. And thank you for being here. Deborah is from McBee, South Carolina. Hey, Deborah. Lyndon's here. Michael is there, a deplorable from Huntington, West Virginia. Sammy is here from Wacky, Florida. Carrie is from East Canton, Ohio. Sammy. Wacky. T. Wayne's from Texas. How you doing? Vince is in Charleston, South Carolina. Claire, Yvonne, Indiana. Jody says Ohio in the house. Nanine is from Arkansas. Jason says, hey, Rusty, cool, Milo, let the fireworks show start. Dean says, hey, Rusty. I'm sorry, he says, pet Rusty, bite me. You got it, Dean. Bite you. I got you. Deborah, hey, Rusty and Milo. Thank you, guys. Thank you all for saying hi and checking in. There we go. Kim says, good show, Milo. Brian says, very cool, very smart. Reese says, Milo rocks. Yes, he does. Greg says, Greg is in Villa Rica, Georgia. Tamara's in Florida. Michael's in Houston. Connie in Gold Bar, Washington. Kim shares the show every night. Thank you, Kim. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. You're from Missouri. Reese in Central Texas. We're here every night, 9 p.m. in the East, 6 p.m. in the West, unless, of course, I got something else going on. We also are having our videos shared by a great website online. Is it America First TV? Blanking now. I'm blanking. Sorry, Terry. All right, that's it. That's it. May God bless you, and may God bless America. I'll see you next time right here on the Rusty Humphries Rebellion.